Hello world painters and welcome to our first episode speaking English. And maybe the last because my English is not very good, but let's give it a try. Today we are talking about one of the oldest technique in miniature painting, the dry brushing. So if you want to learn more about dry brushing and improve your dry brushing skill, please follow me. The first thing I'm gonna show you are the brushes I'm going to use. These are some brushes that I bought cheaply at the store. They cost about 2.20 pounds, a little less than $3. We can also find some of better quality in fine art stores. Normally, we will work with groups of 3 colors, 1 base and 2 highlights. This technique is very simple. First of all, we will put the paint on a paper towel. Second, we dip the brush in paint. Then, we will remove the excess paint by dabbing the brush on the paper towel. You have to make sure to remove as much paint as possible to avoid stains. The purpose of this technique is to illuminate the most prominent parts of the miniature. Now we are going to move on to a practical example using a piece of scenery from Age of Sigmar. The first thing I will do is apply a base coat using the darkest color of the 3 colors I have chosen. To speed up the drying process, I'll use a blow dryer. Another important step will be to apply a wash to highlight the shadows and create contrast. To do this, I'll be using Agrax Earthshade. It is important to cover the entire piece with the wash to avoid strange patches once it's dry. The next step will be to use the intermediate color. For this, as I said before, I will dip the brush in paint and remove most of it on the paper towel. A good tip when using the dry brush is to give the brush strokes in a direction perpendicular to the lines that we want to highlight. Another thing that we must bear in mind is that the more times we pass the brush over the edges, the stronger the highlight will be, so keep that in mind if you are looking for more subtle results. And please, do not use water to clean the brush between each color. Later, we will show you how to do it. To achieve more subtle color change between highlights, we can mix the colors. So, in summary, the dry brush is a great technique that can help us to paint our scenery very quickly and easily. Another thing to keep in mind is that it works not only with scenery, but we can also use it in our armies, if what we are looking for are quick results regardless of the appearance. So, we must also take into account that the more edges our miniature has, the better the results we obtain. We should also avoid using the dry brush on miniatures that contain several colors, since we will get a very dirty result. In my opinion, the dry brush works much better when we apply it in small miniatures, since the distance that there will be between them and us during a game will make them look good anyway. The dry brush can also be used to make some basic gradients using a lighter tone than the base. In this case, mix green and yellow. To obtain these results, we just have to leave more paint on the brush. so keep that in mind if you want to paint your army very quickly. I suppose that if you are watching this video, it is very likely that you are starting in this hobby, and if that is true, you will probably have some contrast paints. Do not be afraid to use them by combining them with the dry brush, since thanks to their formula you can save yourself the step of adding the wash to your piece of scenery or your miniature. When the paint is dry, you will only have to brighten it a little using a lighter color. By the way, in case you want to use this combination, I'm using a Hermetic Blue and Temple Ward Blue. In order to get a more spooky and very Halloween-like result, I will highlight more strongly using pink and a very light green. As you can see, the combinations are endless, and you can try the one that best suits your board or way of painting. Finally, we will talk about cleaning the brush between colors. For this, I recommend using alcohol for two reasons. The first is that alcohol is the kryptonite in acrylic paints, which are what almost all of us use. The second is that it dries very quickly, so we will have the brush dried almost instantly. I hope you have enjoyed our first video in English, and we hope to see you in the comments. So war painters, you just saw that dry brushing is a very easy technique. And if you want to learn more about miniature painting, please don't forget to give us a like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And see you next time!